I made a response to it because it was an odd video in my opinion, and I thought it'd be fun to do a little more writing training on something like that. For every one of my essays in school, I phoned it in, so I truly do need the practice. I was hoping that he would eventually respond to it, and lo and behold, and whatever other stuff, he did. Why woke content is trash, the video is called. There's me on the thumbnail. Hi to me. It's a video about my video, which was a video about his video. Big drama alert. Woke Keemstar signing in. If you need to get up to speed, all these videos are linked below in episodic order, but if your brain just can't handle that sort of relentless pounding, I'm gonna try and give as much context as is necessary. This video from Think Before You Sleep has 4 main arguments. We're gonna go through each of them, but before we do, I wanna start off with a smaller point concerning the term woke. I think this will be helpful to frame what this channel is sort of all about. After that, we'll get into the meat and the potatoes and the broccoli and sour cream for the rest of it. But for now, let's go. Okay, let's go. So in my first video, I made a sarcastic remark about the vacuous nature of the term woke as it is used by conservatives. What does wokeness mean in this case? Well, we're going to find out, I'm sure. When conservatives attempt defining that term, the definitions they give are almost always incoherent and contradictory. Think Before You Sleep, though, was kind enough to provide a very simple, direct definition for us, one that I thought was interesting, so let's hear it now. Roll the clip. Well, we're going to find out, I'm sure.
Communism. Woke means communism. Now, the breadtubers love to say, that's not what that term means. It used to mean something else, as some sort of gotcha on the anti-woke crowd, but words change meaning all the time, and it was the communists who were using the term woke, and thus, that's what the word means now.
Okay, so the first question to ask here is that if the Dove ad is woke, according to him, that means that it's communist. Where is the communism in that ad? How exactly is it communist? What are you talking about? This point goes totally
I know I'm still on this. But like, pick a struggle, man. Don't have that voice and be a loser. You know, like, listen, and I'm going to say something, okay? I'm going to say something. I think collectively, actually, very cool research has shown us that this is true. Trans women have led the frontier on voice-related studies. Historically, we used to think, like, this is your voice, this is the voice you are given. There are things you can do to change your voice very mildly, but that's it. You know, what you have is what you get. And the research now, because obviously a lot of trans women, not all trans women, but a lot of trans women do voice training, which is just getting into a different voice range that is more comfortable, or trying to make the voice range you want to speak in more comfortable. And I'm sure even people here who have done a lot of voice training know that at a certain point, it starts getting uncomfortable to speak in your old voice. You get so comfortable with your like new voice that speaking in your old voice is like weird. It's like, oh God, no. Like, you do not default to that voice anymore, which is really cool. Does HRT voice affect the voice at all? I know that for trans men, HRT plays a big factor just because testosterone is directly like linked to changing your octaves in your voice. It does it very quickly, and there's still some level of voice training, but it's much less important. But I do know that for the majority of trans women, the voice training is what is going to give you the most results, if that makes sense. It's also a lot easier for trans masc than trans femme. I would say on that like regard, people agree, just because the hormones like testosterone kind of just does it for you. Estrogen doesn't make your voice higher pitched. Voice training is key though, even with surgery. Yeah. And I thought that happened with accent too. What do you mean? Also, the thing about T is that it literally changes your vocal cords. Once it's done that, you can't really reverse it without surgery. This guy did voice training to make it more shitty. This is the voice you get when you say actually too much. Yeah. There's also some really cool exercises like re-recording yourself, talking for an entire day, and then listening back to see what you like and dislike. No, voice training is really, really cool. And a lot of the studies that are coming out are very, very cool. But I was trying to say something else. One second. There was a greater point to this. So, given that we now know that you can actually change the way that you sound pretty reliably, also, like I've friends of mine who are trans femme I've been friends with them for a while, like for a good while, and they sound completely different. Like completely different. And I'm like, you did that all with just practice? Mm-hmm. And this is the comfortable voice. This is what you default to. Like you talk like this when you're like drunk out of your mind. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, that is so cool. So now that we know that this is possible, why would you have the most annoying voice on the planet and be the most annoying person on the planet and not even dedicate a little bit of work to make yourself sound less bad? Just a little bit. I mean, just look at Philosophy Tube. Philosophy Tube is a great example. Philosophy Tube is great. If you go and look at her old videos, the difference is not even close. And I think even she's talked about how she feels uncomfortable trying to lower the pitch of her voice. Like trying to speak lower she's like straining to do it. Again, my suspicion is this was involuntary voice training. Motherfucker said, actually too much and ended up like this. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Makes sense, yeah. Mm-hmm. It gives me hope that maybe I can femme up my voice a little bit more as someone who's cisgender. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, I've stood by this statement and I always will stand by this statement. Fucking cis women get clocked. Okay? Cis women get clocked for being trans because their voice sounds too masculine. And even before trans people were more visible, I would say, I knew plenty of women who were like embarrassed about having deeper voices. You know? Like people in my family, friends, they were like embarrassed that like, oh God, I'm supposed to be like a cis woman. Like I'm supposed to be a woman and my voice sounds so deep. And I always like, in my head, I was always like, what? Having a deep voice as a woman is so sexy. It is so hot. Oh my God. I'm sorry to like, objectify women or whatever, but it's so cool. Oh my God. Like a nice smoky voice. But I mean, like, I get it. I mean, it's nonsense, right? Give me a little lower and a bit of fry. Yeah. 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 Passing isn't necessary, but as a trans mask, it's less about safety for me. Great episode about King of the Hill explores that, surprisingly not transphobic for when it was made. Cis women are probably the largest recipients of transphobia in the gross, not of course individually, just because there are a lot of masculine cis women. Yeah, no, I wouldn't even be surprised if the just number of cis women that deal with transphobia, just because of how many cis women there are, get clocked way more often than trans people do. I have a deeper voice and guys constantly come into my chat being like, oh, nice Adam's apple, LMAO. Yeah, I mean, I used to be like self-conscious. I guess it's less pronounced now, but when I was younger, you can kind of see it. My like Adam's apple. It was very like pronounced. It's not really pronounced now. Every time I've tried to like look at it, I'm like, it's not really there. But I remember being like embarrassed about it growing up, like, oh my God, Nowadays, my favorite thing to say to people who are trying to clock me, and I recommend this to all cis women, okay? I don't like to tell people, no, I'm not trans, I'm cis. I like to tell people, sadly, I don't have a girl cock. But maybe one day if I work really hard, I can get one. That's what because the transphobes have no response, Sad. Might feel when I just want to have girl cock, but I have girl pussy instead. No cock. Just gussy. It's also, in my opinion, the most inclusive way to discuss the issue. You know? Because A, it is confirming that, like, genitals and gender are not related, right? And B, you aren't trying to defend yourself from the accusation of being trans. You are correcting the person while validating trans people, right? It's like the same thing about, this is like a common thing with like fat shaming. Like people will call other people fat. Actually, Noah had a great video on this where people will call Noah fat and they'll be like, lol, you're just some fat nerd loser in your room. And he's like, first of all, A, that's not true. But second of all, B, I don't even want to like engage with it because what does me being fat have anything to do with anything? You know, like literally that's not relevant at all. Okay, we can get back to the video. Enough sunlocking.
Unexplained, other than him talking about who used the term initially, which is not a definition of that term. Now, with that said, in a sense, think before you sleep is not wrong here. To conservatives, the words woke and communist are extremely similar in the way that they are used. These terms mean roughly stuff that I, as a conservative, don't like. Little Joel, the linguistic research channel, his definition is spot on here, I think. As woke, meaning just left-leaning politics, liberal stuff.
Woke, it means liberal. It means being
Every time I see a new Joel video, he looks more and more disheveled and more insane. Honestly, I respect it. He's Zizek, Savoy Zizek maxing. You know, to go for it, man. Go crazy with it. Fucking based.
It means being a liberal. It means having liberal politics, particularly about race and gay people. It means liberal.
Conservatives' inability to coherently define these terms doesn't make them
Mad
meaningless.
scientist
Far from
vibe.
it. They can mean anything conservatives want them to, because they are catch-all terms. And how do we know this? Well, just look at all the things that they use woke to describe. Identity politics, climate change, getting vaccinated, political correctness, communism, liberalism, two ideologies that are definitely the same thing. Just ask any communist on Twitter what they think of liberals. They're going to say a bunch of really nice things. Black mermaids, black actors in general, really, LGBTQ education, fat people in marketing, and my personal favorite, large corporations. Famously communist capitalist corporations. I just thought it was interesting that he basically treated this point as self-evidently true, that woke means communist because communists said it once, when anyone outside of these anti-woke echo chambers would know that that is just a very easily disprovable falsehood. But okay, let's move on now to the main points of the video. Here we go. First up, a primary point in this video concerns women's representation in video games. Dove, in their Real Virtual Beauty ad campaign from the last video, they presented some statistics about this topic which were the basis for the campaign. The stat in question here reads, 2 out of 3 female gamers in the UK say that there's a lack of representation in video games. For context, last video, Think Before You Sleep argued against this statistic by pretty much saying that he doesn't believe it.
Where did you get that number? Did you simply ask 3 of your British friends? Because there is no way that most British women are eternally offended snowflakes who care about that kind of stuff.
In this video, his first argument against this statistic is that the research behind it wasn't cited in the ad, and therefore we must assume that it is incorrect or a lie.
Okay, so I'm supposed to do Dove's homework for them? Dove is the one who brought up the data. They're responsible for telling the audience where their stats came from.
God,
it's not my
he just sounds like he screams to get his mom to give him nuggies. The way that he sounds and like the entitlement that he has, like, all right, so I'm supposed to do this research for Dove. Shouldn't Dove be doing this research? Mom, I need more chicken nuggies. Mom, make me the chicken nuggies now. Like, he just sounds like he would do that. Like he would engage in that behavior, you know? Like, oh my God. He sounds like he sleeps in a locker. I will not do your homework for you, Dove, okay? You know, like Chad, he just already bullied me and then I have to do his homework and he got all of his jock friends to bully me too, so now I have to do their homework. I have to write 7 papers by next week, okay? I'm not gonna do your homework for you, Dove. Like, he tell me it doesn't fit. Just tell me.
I don't condone violence, but this guy needs to be swallowed and put in a locker.
Okay. Let's get back. Maybe we should bring back bullying. Yeah. Okay.
Job to Google it for them. If someone gives
Race car bed energy. I understand where you're coming from. It does have race car bed energy, but also I have to defend people who just enjoy a good race car bed. Okay. If you want a nice little race car bed in your apartment, you know, who am I to stop you? Okay. If the girlies can have girl dinner and can have plushies, the boys can have race car bed. Okay? As a treat.
Statistical data and doesn't say where they got it from, then the proper thing to do is to take it with a grain of salt or assume that they are lying.
Now, this is interesting because while I do agree statistics generally should be cited, that makes the process of fact-checking easier. A lack of citation doesn't inherently mean that statistics are false. That in and of itself is a bad argument against statistical claims, especially when data exists that shows these claims to be true. And we actually found some of that data. In my video, I cited a survey that corroborated these claims from Dove. In the Opinium Women in Gaming report, the one that I presented, the data lines up perfectly with Dove's claims. When you actually ask female gamers, it turns out many of them do feel underrepresented in games. Instead of engaging with this data.
And also, just because you feel underrepresented doesn't mean you make it your whole personality, right? Like, you can recognize something when you're asked about it, and, you know, that's it. Also, Retro, thank you for the 7 months. Thank you. Like, I think if you polled the average Black American, I think that they would tell you, yes, police brutality is a serious problem, and it is one that disproportionately affects Black communities. It doesn't mean that, like, if you were to go up to a random person or you were to start talking to, like, a Black friend of yours, that they would just start talking about police brutality, right? You can hold opinions to be true without bringing them up every instance and occasion you have, right?
Though, Think Before You Sleep initially spends a lot of time just decrying the labor of having to do Dove's homework for them, when he very well knows that this is a terrible argument against statistics. He's not addressing the numbers, he's just saying, this wasn't in the footnotes and therefore I shouldn't have to take this seriously. The fact that this study wasn't cited below the ad does not invalidate these statistics. To argue against it, you need contradictory data, and Think Before You Sleep does not provide any of that in this video. However, he does eventually address the survey in his video, but when he does, he dismisses it in 3 fascinating ways. First up, he argues that the study is biased because of how they represent the differences in time spent gaming between men and women.
Let's take a look at this study that Noah found for us. Diversity in Gaming, Thought Leadership. Let's look at the results. It starts by saying that women play games nearly as often as men, just 2 hours less than their male counterparts. Well, I don't like the framing of that at all. That's not nearly, that's a full 20% less. Nearly would be the difference of a few percent, not 1/5 of the total amount. So we're off to a great start with this study trying to make it seem like women play games significantly more than they do. This study isn't heavily biased at all.
So 10 hours of boy gaming versus 8 hours of girl gaming. He doesn't think that those are nearly the same because 8 is 20% less than 10, and that's too much percents for him. So this study is biased and can't be trusted. As a glass half full kind of guy, I would like to point out that 8 being 20% less than 10 also means that 8 is 80% of 10, which is, you know, it's a lot out of 10. To act as if 8 and 10 aren't close numbers is, I've never seen such pure, unfiltered, raw Chernobyl levels of cope, especially when those numbers.
The cope is crazy. The cope is. Yeah, well, maybe you guys spend 8 hours a week playing video games, but we play 10 hours a day. Okay. It's just, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. Also, realistically speaking, the way that gamers play games, it's going to be on like a spectrum. Okay. There are going to be a lot of people who are playing like an average amount of games, right? Like Mario Kart or, you know, fucking mobile games or, you know, fucking platformers. I think those are all very accessible games that people like to pick up casually and put down casually. And then there are people who don't play games really at all. And then there are people who play a lot of games. Like, I'm pretty sure at this point, I've put 10,000 hours in gaming. A decade of gaming, I'm pretty sure I've clocked in my 10K. I mean, in Overwatch alone, I have like 2 or 3K. TF2 alone,
Get him buff.
I have 1,000 hours in. I am very grateful that none of the MMOs I played told me how many hours I spent playing them. Because I don't want to know. 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 I know. I was playing every day. I was clocking into my second job every day. I was like, well, I gotta get my dailies done. Well, since I'm doing my dailies anyways, I might as well do my weeklies today. Oh, you know what else I should do? I really need to be trading on the market. I need to be increasing the gold that I have. Well, it looks like the market says that well, if I craft these potions, I can actually run like a 20% profit on them. So I think I'm gonna do that. Let's get through this. Like I don't want to think about it. Okay, that was a different me. Clueless. Different me. I'd rather have my browser history
For
read than my
context,
WoW
everyone,
total
2K
playtime.
hours is a full-time job for a year.
$40 a week times 7 times 50. You lied to me. You lied to me. Okay. How dare you? Oh wait, sorry. Times 5. Sorry. I forget that you don't work every day. Sorry. Wait, let me see. 40 times 5. Okay. Times 52. Is that right? 5 days a week? It's not 40 per day. Sorry, it's 8 per day. Sorry, it's 40 times 52. I'm sorry. I'm paging. No, they didn't lie. Gaming has been my full-time job for at least 5 years straight. Listen, okay. Look, okay. Simple math is not my specialty, okay? I'm a discrete math girly. All right? I will not die on the simple math hill.
Are describing hours spent playing video games in a week. What that means is that the women in the study play games on average an hour and 10 minutes per day, whereas the men play on average an hour and 25 minutes per day. That's just 15 extra minutes per day. Are girl gamer hours affected by inflation or something? Is the exchange rate between those shit right now? I don't get it at all. The next way that he dismisses the study is where he just straight up lies about what it says on the screen.
But let's take a look at the number that Noah pointed out. It says that 69% of women say that there aren't enough female characters in games. Dove's ad was about body positivity, so by their statements, a reasonable person would infer that Dove was implying...
A reasonable person, oh, there's your issue.
A reasonable person would infer that Dove was implying that 2 out of 3 women believe that there's not enough body positivity representation in video games, not that there aren't enough female characters. Those two things aren't the same. More women does not equal more body positivity. If these are actually the stats that Dove used, then they are lying to you or wildly misrepresenting that study.
Don't those go hand in hand? Like having more women in your video game would mean that you would also have like more diversity? Or hopefully that's what that would mean. And usually that's what that means. Because in my experience playing a lot of games, and sadly, I'm a gamer. For better or for worse, I will say that when a game has like 10 male characters and like 1 female character, the female character always just looks like Widowmaker, right? Which I'm not complaining about. I like me a femme fatale baguette, okay? As much as the next person. But I want to see something new, you know? I want to see something exciting, you know? Like a great example is Lady D from the Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 8, I think. Now that's some variety, you know? Like I want varieties. That's all. I just want to see I want how far can you take a female character and still have them be like sexy? You know, scary but sexy. I want to take it to the extremes, okay? I want a limit test. You know? Zarya, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, let me see more of that. Let me see more of that, you know? Junker Queen, oh my god, dude. Junker Queen. A lady so tall I can motorboat her without straining my neck. Yeah. It's for research. Oh my god. Sorry. Gotham, you wrote JQ flush, and I was like, Jewish question. What are you talking about? Oh, Junker Queen. Okay. I was fucking politics brain, fucking brain rotted to the next. It's like, why are you flushing about anti-Semitism? I don't understand. Okay. Back to reality.
See how he bakes in this assumption there that this number must be about body positivity, because that's what the ad is about, even though that's not what the statistic says, right? If you look on the screen, there it is. The statistic saying lack of representation, not body positivity. I genuinely can't tell if he's being dishonest here or if he just refuses to accept this because he doesn't believe it. But again, statistics are not invalidated by one's refusal to believe them. He actually does this again in a different spot in the video. This one's kind of a digression, but I think it's really funny. He tries to justify.
I'm pretty sure it's that these people are dumb. I think it's a little bit that they're dumb and a little bit that they're actually way more misogynistic than they think that they are. And obviously, like, bigotry is blinding, right? Anyone in here have parents that are, let's say, a little racist? They just won't listen to, like, facts. They just refuse because bigotry is just so strong, right? Like, they will say very racist stereotypes about people. You guys know the words, you guys know the phrases. I don't need to go through them. And you will try your best to be like, hey, look, the data doesn't support this. Hey, look, there's nothing that seems to suggest that this is true, you know? And they're not like, they're like refusing. They're like, that's not possible. There's no way I feel this strongly about something and I'm wrong. It's not possible. And in this instance, it's like, well, no, I hate women. I'm not going to admit that I hate women, but I hate women clearly with the way that I talk about them. It can't be that women like video games as much as I do. I refuse to believe it. No. Can you imagine if, like, and I'm sure that it happens, but can you imagine if that happened in women's spaces, when in reality, it feels like the complete opposite happens in women's spaces, where if you are, yeah, that's not the preferred nomenclature, Dad. Listen, I'm not racist. I'm just saying there's so many Orientals around here. And it's like, you can't say that. You can't say that. Don't say those words in that order. Do not. Please. What was I trying to say? Even if they look at stats, their brains skew them into a biased interpretation. Yeah. My parents have gotten a lot less racist over time. You got to give them credit for that. Yeah. And I mean, like, I will always say that if you can, and it's possible, you should try and de-radicalize family members and friends, right? Especially if you are not part of the minority group that they are bigoted against, because you're going to have a lot more sway. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work every time. In fact, it's not going to work. I can probably assure you it won't work most of the time. Okay? But if it even works some of the time, even a little bit, I would like to think that that good is worth it. You know? Women are just playing video games to get my attention. Actually, they're faking it. They're clocking into their full-time job playing video games to impress me, a random man. Yeah. But it's so funny to me because the opposite is, it's never shamed or like I think tox femme people will engage in shitty behavior on this front. let me clarify. I realize I haven't said what I want to say. If you took a man and put him in a traditionally women's space, the women would be all over him. Like if you go to like a crocheting club or a knitting club as a man, you are getting you are getting like letters of adoration, okay? Like they are welcoming you. They're gonna go feral, all right? Or even like yoga. Like you go to yoga as a man, it's like, so what do you do for fun? You know, like don't say the secrets out loud. I'm sorry. You're right. I apologize. But it feels like the opposite isn't true for some reason. I just don't know why. Where it's like, ooh, women playing video games. I feel like that should be cool. You know, it should be like, whoa, sick. You like what I like. Even though this is a traditionally male hobby because it's been traditionally marketed to men. And then there are some people that are like, I just don't like that you're in my space. It's like, what? Why does that matter? Jesus, so weird. Also, you didn't invent this game. You weren't even a developer of this game. Why are you gatekeeping who gets to play this game when you didn't even make the game? Like what is your status of authority? Like, huh? The opposite is true, but hate and creepiness is involved sometimes too. Yes, yeah. I've seen men get their nails done lately, and we should embrace that. Fuck yes. Getting your nails done, do it. Do it. Okay, let's go back to the video.
One of the claims from the last video that one of the most common...
Sorry, one last thing, just because it's when it was funny. Can you imagine a gatekeeping women's space? Name 3 crochet stitches or you can't hang out with us. I always thought that was weird. That, like, there are men. I would like to think, for my own sanity, it's a small percentage of men, okay? I don't even want to look at the numbers on that one. But the men who see a chick wearing, like, a Nirvana shirt and they're like, are you even a real fan? Name 5 Nirvana songs. Oh, you're a gamer? Name 5 games. Name 5 of the characters in this game. It's like, what's wrong with you? Like, what is, like, I just want to know what is wrong with, in what universe do you think that this is an acceptable behavior in our society? Because it is not acceptable behavior. It is fucking weird. It's so weird. Working at GameStop was like that 1,000% of the time. I'm so happy. Wait, Sarah Z recently posted a video about women shaming gender non-conforming men for being predators, trying to trick women into thinking that they're feminine. Yeah, so so that's a different subset of people. And also, I would like to think that that is a small percentage of women as well. But like I said earlier, there is like the toxic femme or toxic femininity that some women experience where they're like, oh, so let me get this straight. You drink mixed drinks? What are you, gay? What do you suck cock for your free time? For pleasure and business? How many cocks do you suck in a given week? I just want to know. Because if you're drinking this drink and it's like pink, the only logical answer is that you're sucking 10 cocks a day. You know, it's like, what? And to those women, I say, please learn how to be normal. It is a color. It's hundreds. How many dicks are you sucking? Hundreds, thousands, millions. How do you think I afforded the drink, Denim? But anyways, yeah, those women just learn to be normal. Oh my God. Appreciate it, please. Oh my God. A guy who has the confidence to order a drink and not give a fuck what anyone thinks about him. Are you kidding me? What are you doing? That guy is based. That guy's giga-based. And you're scaring him off because you're an idiot. Anywho, okay. I also wish that they made more brightly colored clothes for men, honestly. It's all kind of boring blue, gray, black stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think so too. Sorry, I mean, Nah, they can't do that because that's wokeism. First, they're gonna give up men colors, and then what? No, but seriously, men do need more colors. It's actually kind of offensive how little clothing options men have. Men's fashion fucking sucks, okay? It's not as bad as it used to be, but man, it fucking sucks. I've been going so hard specifically on the fuchsia lately. Not magenta, but not hot pink either. Fuchsia, it's so hard to find shit in my size, yeah. Oh, yeah, another thing. Certain colors do complement certain skin tones. You would be surprised how many people are complemented by pink. If you're white, pink is a great complementary color. It's a great complementary color. Not to say like, actually, if you're brown, you shouldn't be wearing pink. That's not what I'm saying, okay? I've always thought that those people are fucking weird. The people who like tell girls which nail colors they're allowed to have because of their skin tone, fucking, you're weird. You're weird. But I am saying that there are certain colors that are going to emphasize like certain undertones. And if you want to wear something, fucking wear it. I don't even think so. Black people look so good in pink. Yeah, no, I also disagree as well. Like, the combination of... I like it. Okay, that's all. I was going to simp really hard, and I'm like trying not to simp right now. But like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to simp. Okay, I'm going to simp. Black girls who wear like the space buns and they accessorize with like pink. It looks so good. It's so good. You know, like okay. You're describing Fly on a Boss? Yeah, yes. It's so nice. It's so nice. I personally have like a very orange, yellow skin tone. When I wear pink, I just don't like the way it looks on me. You know? Which is the most important metric, by the way, when you're buying stuff. If you don't like the way it looks on you, don't get it. If you like the way it looks on you, and someone's like, actually, that's not good for your skin tone, tell them that they can go fucking eat a dick, okay? But I know for myself, when I'm wearing like a pink color, it doesn't jive well with my natural skin tone. Blues, I feel like look great on me. Yellows, I feel like look really good on me. Greens also look good on me. But like pinks, like especially like hot pinks, they just don't really work that well for me. I just don't like how they look on me, you know? I used to have a salmon pink jumper as a kid, was my favorite. Got the piss taken out of me every time I wore it. I loved it though. Yeah. So, okay. All right. I just wanted to make that clarification. You basically, if you're like unsure about getting a pink color, like a pink pair of shorts or a pink sweater or whatever, just consider it. Okay? Just consider it. All right, let's get back to the thing. One of the most common things women ask for in relationships is leadership from men.
Things women ask for in relationships is leadership from men. I laughed this point off when he initially made it, but he doubles down on it again, so I think we should address it.
This, by the way, is coming from the people who will say, "Source, bro, where's your source, man?" on literally every claim that you make after telling you that you should Google all their data for them. Particularly when one of the most common things women ask for in a relationship is leadership from men.
Source? Can we get a source?
Gee, I didn't know I needed a source for common knowledge. You know that's an exception in research, right? Next, he's going to ask for a source on what color the sky is.
I'm sorry. Wait.
Can we get a source?
Gee, I didn't know I needed a source for common knowledge. You know that's an exception in research, right?
One general exception to this principle occurs when the ideas we are discussing represent common knowledge. If the specific facts and figures we are discussing are assumed to be known by the readership, then one does not need to provide a citation. Hey, newsflash, asshole. The statement, women like certain types of qualities, needs a source. Also, wait, this is for plagiarism? God, I just noticed it says it's a .gov website for plagiarism and common knowledge. Appealing to common knowledge is relative and a bad argument. Also, plagiarism doesn't even apply here. The dude is a moron. First time chatter. Hi, welcome. Yeah, this is so stupid. When it comes to like common knowledge, I'm pretty sure common knowledge is more like people have usually 10 fingers. Like, I don't think you need to pull up a study to show people that most people have 10 fingers. Unless, you know, there is some injury that you receive or some different birth defect or something. Yeah, sure. But generally, you can say human beings have 10 fingers, and there should be no one in at least the US that's going to disagree with you, right? Oh, hi, Worry. Hi, Worry Cat. Hi, Mary Cat. There, they just walked inside the room. Yeah, common knowledge is also not copyrighted. Yeah. The statement, women on average look for qualities of leadership in men, is something that you would have to prove. I don't think that that's necessarily common knowledge. I think that that might be something that people might assume to be true, but there's a lot of stuff that people assume to be true that is not true. You know? Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Oh, you know what's a really good example? So when it comes to household tasks, for the longest time, journals and journalists and basically everyone on the internet started suggesting that the reason why men are less clean than women, or that the reason that men do less housework than women, is because they just don't see the messes. You know, they don't, like, women will look at a room and be like, oh my God, this is a mess. And men won't see that. But that is actually something that has been since debunked. It's not true. It's not true. And there's like a bunch of articles from a bunch of websites that are generally like pretty respectable that have said this, but it's been debunked. It's like, no, women and men are perceiving the same levels of cleanliness in a room. It's that women and men are prioritizing differently. You know, I see the mess, I choose to ignore it. Yeah, exactly. But it's true for, like, there are lots of things that are, or common knowledge that are not accurate, right? But you don't need to do like a study to know that most people have 10 fingers, right? Everyone you grow up with is going to have 10 fingers. Like, probably every single human being you've run into, maybe outside of one person or something, has 10 fingers, you know? Everyone you see in media, in other countries, you don't really need a study for that, right? I see the mess, but my Minecraft base isn't going to build itself. I got to tidy my storage chest first, yeah? I got to organize my desktop before I can organize my room, okay?
Next, he's going to ask for a source on what color the sky is.
So we're both using the common knowledge exemption there, right? I use it when I laugh off that claim for just being insane, and he does it when he invokes the dating tips clause.
You don't think this is a common knowledge exception? Well then, who has to ask who out on the first date? Is it 50-50? Or is it almost exclusively the men initiating the relationship? That's leadership, because leaders are the ones who go first.
These are both of our versions of common knowledge, right? So if it's his...
First of all, that's not even accurate. Leadership is not defined by someone doing something first. Leadership is, like, I would like to say, is your ability to convince, not pejoratively necessarily, the people around you that you can be in charge and that you make good decisions. You know, like me personally, I would like to think I'm a bit of a leader, you know. I was a raid leader, you know. I taught people how to do the dungeons and the raids. People came to me for help, okay? You know. So, you know, they and I'm just going to say people left the other raid group to join my raid group. Because my raid group was better. So you know, that's what being a leader is about. You can rally up 11 people on a Wednesday to do VT for 3 hours straight. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's called to be a leader, you know? Raid leading, even when you're good at it, is horrible. So sorry. You don't know me, little bro. You do not know me. You do not know my lore to be saying shit like that, okay? I need to educate you, Mr. Greyfu 2, okay? My leadership was so amazing, okay, that I took my raid group, which used to be the bad raid group. There was the good raid group A and the bad raid group B, okay? And I whipped those people into shape, okay? There was never enough room for A, so I was like, hey, I talked to the guild leader. I was like, give me leadership of this. I made a whole ass Excel sheet. I wrote down how the boss is and how all the mechanics work. I learned how all the mechanics work for all the different classes, okay? And I took that raid group, which couldn't do jack shit, respectfully, okay? And I got them to clear the first raid dungeon, okay? And we cleared the second raid dungeon before the first raid group cleared it. We had less weeks trying to learn it, okay? And we did it before them. And we did it so well. I know I sound like Trump, but we did it so well. People in raid group A were like, hey, so I really want the mats for my weapon. Do you guys have any room for like a person? Because we haven't cleared this raid yet. So like, okay. All right. We raided the best. My raids were the best raids. Okay. All right. And I know what you guys are thinking. Well, it sounds like the other raid group was just bad. No. It was me. Okay. It was me. You want to know why? At a certain point, I got tired of the leadership in the guild. And I said I was going to fuck off, basically. Politely. Okay. And I told the raid leader, not the raid leader, the guild leader. I told him like, hey man, I'm going to another guild. Sorry. Thank you for your time. I'm going to take the 2 people that I recruited, the Warlock and the FM that I recruited. And, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you for having us. And, we had a great time. And on the final raid day, I told everyone like, hey guys, I'm leaving this guild. I'm going to go join a different guild. I don't know what guild I'm going to join yet, but I'm going to go join a different guild just because I disagree with some of the guild decisions. And, I had a great time, blah, blah. And do you want to know what? Every single person from my raid group said that they were coming with me. I did not tell them to come with me, okay? In fact, I didn't want them to come with me because I was concerned that it would come off as poaching. And they were like, well, if you're leaving, we want to leave. Okay. All right. I was the biggest leader, the best leader. All right. Indoctrinated with the woke mind virus, obviously. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I just needed to be known. I needed to be known. All right. When I want to be a good leader, I can be a good leader. Okay. All right. Oh, God. I have to tell you that Jeremy showed a lot of leadership in his interview with Amaranth yesterday. I love you, but I'm also cringing. I mean, yes, everyone should be cringing. I'm talking about a video game. Yes. All right. A video game that I wailed on and spent way too many hours on. And it wasn't even a good one. It wasn't even good. It wasn't even a good game, So anyways, all right. Oh God, I'm still unlocking so hard. I want to finish this video. Okay, we're going to finish this video responsibly.
Version against mine. How do we break this tie? Well, we just Google it, right? And what do you know? Look at that. When you actually ask women what they want in relationships, leadership isn't even in the top 5. I think he underestimated just how.
Oh God, wait, he's so wrong. We asked 64,000 women what they look for in a partner. The most important thing was kindness, then supportiveness, and then intelligence, education, and confidence. I have no words. I have no words. I mean, that makes sense. That I agree. I totally agree. Yes. So I think, to be clear, there's one part of the study that I think is a little bit different, or like maybe needs like a little pin in it. I think confidence is really important for getting into a relationship with someone, right? Or starting to talk to someone. But in a relationship, like when someone is deciding who they want to be with, these are important. Emotional intelligence is important to women. Not surprising. I mean,
women what they want in relationships, leadership isn't even in the top 5. I think he underestimated just how bold of a claim he was making there, because he compared an easily disprovable falsehood with knowing that the sky is blue, which, you know, that's fun. It's very sassy, very catty from him. Ooh, meow, ooh, meow. These unsubstantiated dismissals of statistics are made because at his core, Think Before You Sleep just doesn't believe stuff. How could women care about representation when he and the people around him do not? Of course, women want to be led in relationships, like kindergartners, you know. Being a line leader is a masculine trait, because that's what he thinks they want. Does what they say actually matter here? No, of course not. Because his...
Also, just as a side note, by the way, I feel like women, even women in traditionally very like traditional relationships, didn't mean to say tradition twice in that sentence, still do a lot of leadership things. Organizing a schedule and making sure that everyone's having their needs met in a household and doing all of the planning, like that is leadership, okay? I know maybe it's not seen as leadership, but when you go on a vacation and your wife is the one that's planning the entire itinerary, planning everywhere you're going to go, what you're going to eat, when you're going to eat it, packing everything that you need or might need, making sure that like everything is taken care of. Okay? That is a managerial position. That is a leadership position. To be like, we're doing this now.
Face holding back tears. Face holding back tears.
In a spaceship. Oh, I'm a spaceship for the 2 months. Yeah. Like, it's like a mom. Yeah. And I mean, like, what are moms if not like leaders of their households?
Someone needs to hand Think Before You Sleep, a copy of Women, Race and Class by Angela Davis.